I think having a really regular sex life helps. It keeps and again, I'm talking to women, but it keeps your vagina used to having sex, used to that lubrication, used to orgasming, and so I think that's really helped. Is just almost every day having an orgasm. If I'm not orgasming with Scott, I'm almost always giving myself an orgasm. Hey, I'm Jen, host of the Open Bedroom Podcast, where you'll find topics of sex, dating, relationships, non-monogamy, and more. I'm glad you're here. Let's dive in. Hey guys, I'm back. It's been a while. Not too long. I mean, just a few months, but I wanted to pop back in and kick this podcast back off. So, why was it off to begin with? Well, we've been through some major life transition. We sold the home that I raised my kids in for the last 8, 9 years. So it was packing for months before we finally moved, and then finding a rental. Scott and I want to build a home together. And so, in order to build the home, I needed the equity from the home that I previously owned. So now we are moved, finally settled back into our new place. And yeah, I'm feeling grounded. I'm feeling creative again, where for quite a while I was just feeling exhausted. Let me tell you, putting out a podcast every single week for 181 weeks, this is episode 182, it's a lot. And it's not even the recording. I never had a problem coming up with something to say or a topic, but it was the editing, the making reels, the scheduling the reels, the coming up with the hashtags and coming up with the copy and posting it on every single platform. It's a fucking lot. So I've come back with a little bit shorter hair, a little bit lighter spirit, more money in my pocket after selling my home, and spring in my step, and I have more things to say. I really was coming to the end of last year thinking, I'm done talking. I don't have anything else to say. And what I realized is I was reaching kind of a maturation phase of being in an open relationship for quite a while and with the same partners for quite a while, that I didn't have fun, sexy stuff to talk about. It was kind of the same. And so as I've been off, A, more fun, sexy stuff has happened, but B, I realized this is the stuff people actually want and need to hear about. They need to know what it's like to be in a long-term polyamorous relationship. They want to know what it's like to be in a long-term throuple. People are curious not only how to open their relationship or how to form a throuple, but how to keep it going and keep it alive. Listeners are interested in learning, how do you maintain a long distance relationship with a partner, with what happens throughout the phases of our open relationships. And I can't relay that information without having a place to put the content. So here I am back after big life change and having more things to talk about. So since I've been with you guys, since we've been having some sort of interaction week after week over the last few months of not doing that, let's see what's changed. Well, we're still dating Jess. I don't remember what episode number Jess is on, but I'll look that up really quickly. We had Jess on a few months ago, and that was really fun. And I'm bringing Jess and Scott on together this next time, and we have some really fun topics to talk about. that I don't want to spill the beans yet because that's going to be boring. Okay, Jess is episode number 175. So if we're on 182, that was only what, 7 episodes ago. So just scroll down just a little bit in your podcast platform or on YouTube and find episode 175 and you can meet Jess. So I interviewed our girlfriend Jess, who we've been with now 8 months, as I just said. And we talked about her opening up her marriage for the first time, meeting Scott and I on a dating app. I think we met her on Field. We are the only people that she has dated in her open journey and continue to be. So she's monogamous with us, with Scott and I. And Jess talks about our journey in that. And it's so cute. At one point, she says, yeah, Jen, I went back and I was reviewing our DMs together on Field in the dating app, and it's almost like a love letter back and forth to each other, which I thought was precious. Jess is precious. You guys are going to love Jess. So go look at episode 175. Jess is coming back on with Scott shortly, and we're actually recording within the next week or so. So I'm really excited about that. Scott and I have been on a few dates, so I can't wait to do some episodes on that and expand around topics like how to choose aligned potential partners. And just because somebody actually fits the relationship dynamic that you're looking for in E&M, in ethical non-monogamy, it doesn't mean that they're a good match for you. So that was a recent learning when we went on a date, and everything in Scott's body was a hell no, but he didn't tell me. He just said, I'm not attracted to this person, Jen. And I was like, maybe they'll be a zing in real life. And yeah, I'll save the rest of that story for a podcast. We've also had some interesting interactions on dating apps that were very hot and sexy and fun and looked like they were leading to us actually meeting the person and then being ghosted the next day. So I'll talk some about that. Just some of the things that you find that people have decided is the norm, so that you kind of know what to expect on dating apps and that you realize it's not you, it's them. And societally, this concept of people being disposable and not important and easy to ghost online. So we'll talk some about that. And then we just recently had a day date with a fun, sexy new person that may or may not become anything, but I'll talk more about that too in the future. So I pulled up, I guess that's really my only updates for you guys. We've been over here being polyamorous and having a great time with our partners. Scott, Jess, and I will talk more about what it's like to be in a long-term throuple and how to date from a distance because Jess lives two hours away from us, and the evolution of our relationships, not just as a throuple, but even individually with her and how they've progressed. Okay, so the thing I wanted to talk about today, not, I mean, of course, I want to give you an update, but the big juicy thing that I wanted to talk to you about today is I'm noticing as I get older, get more comfortable in my own body and more comfortable with my own sexuality, I'm noticing that sex for me just gets better and better and better and better and better. And I don't know about you, but I at least was told lots of stories about what marriage is like, how maybe even advice to not get married because as soon as you put a ring on it, she becomes disinterested in sex or wants to just have kids, and then kids definitely lead to disinterest in sex, to how your relationship, if when you get married, that's your 10, does nothing but kind of decrease from there and get worse. And so all of these things that I have been told and that I've seen societally or through my family, they're just not true in my current real life today. And lots of things are happening for me in midlife. And I'm assuming if you're listening to me, you're probably also similar to me. You're probably also going through some midlife things. One, for the women out there, I've gone through some definite hormonal changes over the last few years. I've always been very sexual. I've always been really juicy, and it's been easy for me to have orgasms. And the last year and a half or so, I got really dry. And I just couldn't figure out why, because my mind would be really turned on for sex and be turned on to my partner or partners, but I just couldn't get wet enough. And so we would just, our form of lube is coconut oil. We go to Sam's Club and buy the huge organic vat of coconut oil and put it in smaller containers. And each one of us has some at the bedside table. And it's super easy to grab. It's super close to us. It melts. It's delicious. It never gets slimy and sticky like a lot of lubes do. So there's my advertisement for Sam's Club organic coconut oil. Unless you have an allergy to coconuts, do not use that. But I've used coconut oil for years. And I also use it on my sex toys, which may or may not be a good thing. I don't know, but that's what I use. So I found I was having to use just kind of an excess amount of lube because I wasn't secreting enough lubrication. For the guys that are listening, if you don't want to know this, I'm sorry. Give me just a minute and I'll be done. However, I'm noticing several things. One, I started communicating to Scott because he's the partner that I have the most sex with. We live together. I started talking to him and saying, "Hey, I'm noticing it's taking me longer to get lubricated. I'm noticing when I have more foreplay or I have a longer kind of burn time before we actually are intimate, it really helps me. Or if I have a couple orgasms before you penetrate me, I'm noticing that that's really helpful. It's just taking me longer. And some people may be listening and being like, I'm never lubricated fully. For me in the past, I would just walk around lubricated all the time, and or it would take 2 minutes of some sort of foreplay and I was ready to go. Now, I've always used lube because I guess I've had a lot of really great sex educators in my life that have said, even if you are self-lubricated, meaning you're wet down there and penetration is not only possible but feels good, you can still have micro tears within your vagina. And nobody wants to micro tear, right? And so I've always used lube. Um, but there's a difference between lube and coconut oil, which we use, and a woman's self lubrication. You know what I'm talking about. Women's self lubrication is that deliciously slick, never gets sticky and gross like a fake lube does, right? And it glides so nicely. It turns you on to feel it, right? To be surrounded by it or have it on you. And that's the kind of stuff that I want, right? I want to be self-lubricated. And so as I've been getting older, I'm 41. I'm noticing just changes in hormonal levels and, that lack of lubrication. So some things I think that are helping. I think having a really regular sex life helps. It keeps and again, I'm talking to women, but it keeps your vagina used to having sex, used to that lubrication, used to orgasming. And so I think that's really helped is just almost every day having an orgasm. If I'm not orgasming with Scott, I'm almost always giving myself an orgasm. And I'll do an episode later. I already have it planned out with a woman named Natty, and we're going to come on and talk about that, about an orgasm a day. That'll be a really fun episode. All the ways that orgasms actually help us be more successful women, make more money, be better lovers, be happier, all of those things. Um, the other thing is, I I feel at this very point in my life less sexually inhibited than ever before. This is what I mean. When I was having sex before today's moment or before this little era that I'm in right now, I would worry about the way I sounded. I'm very vocal during sex. And so I would think like, God, am I too loud? Am I making weird noises? Like, is that too primal? Um, am I breathing funny? That was like one thing I would worry about is the auditory part. And then a part of me would worry about how I looked. Like, is this a good angle for him? Do I look fat? Um, but even things like angles and like, is this best for him? Does this make him feel the best, if he's inside me or whatever? And I'm just going to refer today to male female because for some reason I don't have this problem with women, but I've always had it with males. With women, I can be much more intuitive and primal, and I'm a very different creature than I am having sex with a man, where I become, I'm not dominant, I'm more the bottom. So outside of, do I sound weird? Am I disturbing my partner? Do I sound like a crazy person? Um, do I look weird or, unflattering or am I helping him with the best angles? I also would worry about scent a lot. I have this amazing sense of smell, which is great in a lot of ways, but not so great in other ways. And I think everyone's sense of smell is different. And not only that, our pheromones are all very, very different. So my last husband um, was very turned off by any smell of sex. And so he didn't like the way my vagina smelled. He didn't like the way our sex together smelled. He didn't like anything unless it smelled like Bath and Body Works. That was it. And so I feel like I have a bit of trauma from that I've carried into my relationship with Scott, where he continues to assure me, baby, you smell fucking amazing and you taste so good. Like these are things women want to hear, men, by the way. Like and women with women. Like we want to, if we have a vagina, we want to hear this. And men want to hear this too. Men want to know that their cocks taste great, that their bodies smell amazing. Um, so anyway, there's that. So I would be like, God, I can smell sex. I can smell, is this bothering my person? I wonder if there's anything else that would be in my mind. I feel like I could be present. It wasn't like I was thinking about my grocery list because I love sex. So I can be incredibly present with sex. But it was just probably those three things that were, oh, also timing. Like, am I taking too long? Are we taking too long? Is something coming up that needs to be addressed? That was old Jen. I mean, only a few months ago, Jen. And I would say I'm a very embodied, very present woman, especially during sex. Y'all, I am next level these days. There is something that has happened between giving up and selling this home that was like the ending of this era for me, the closing of the chapter of this version of me that needed to be showy and have the newest car and have all the things and have a beautiful huge home and like all these things that made up successful multi-million dollar generator Jen, who is still here, but now she like drives a Subaru and is worried about retirement and investing and being incredibly present for the last few years with my children and being incredibly present with my partners. That's Jen today. Ooh, maybe this is it. Isn't it interesting when we talk and we like work things out? Jen today is so fucking present during sex that all I'm thinking about is my body and the way sex feels for me and the way he feels inside me and the way he's touching me. And so, because of that, and I'm out of my head and I'm way down here into my body, everything is different. I'm having 50 orgasms in a session. I'm crying as I ride him. huge tears of just release and expansiveness. And it's all because I've gotten out of my head and out of worrying about what every fucking buddy else thinks during sex. And I'm totally back to myself, back to my present moment, back to my body, and back to the way I'm feeling. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. And I wanted to give you a challenge. And my challenge for you is, how can you become just a little bit more embodied, just a little bit more focused on your pleasure, just a little bit less focused and worried and concerned about pleasing your partner during sex, and instead go inside. Go inside, ride it out, ride him out, ride her out, and do nothing but focus on the next stroke, the next ride, that next sigh. Take what you need during that moment to push you over that orgasmic edge, over and fucking over and fucking over and fucking over. And you take what you want. And I'm really mostly talking to women here. And I swear to you that your partners, it will blow their fucking minds. They are going to be in awe of your orgasmic bliss, in awe of your pleasure, and you are going to have more sex. They're going to want to experience this with you so many times over, you can't even imagine. Okay, that's my episode for today. I hear my children just got home from the gym. We're going to go have a family dinner. Don't you love that we get to be all these pieces of ourselves? We get to be moms. We get to be lovers. We get to be our orgasmic selves. We get to be all of it. You have full permission to be all of it and experience everything. Okay, if this episode turned you on, this episode made you have questions, if you got to the end of this and you're like, I fucking need some more of this, I think I might want some coaching with Jen. I think I might want to talk to her. Please feel free to DM me. The easiest way is, I mean, every fucking platform has a DM message. But I'm always on Instagram. You know, YouTube is easy, but it's public. So yeah, maybe hop over to Instagram, or even TikTok. I'm on TikTok as well. I'm the Open Bedroom on every podcast platform, as well as TikTok and YouTube. I'm even on Twitter, y'all. I'd love to hear from you. Also, I know that there's a link on my Instagram for coaching with Jen, as well as a bunch of other fun links. I have an open relationship guide that's really fun as well, so check that out. All right, see you on the next episode. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Open Bedroom podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, go ahead and give us a like and click subscribe below and stay up to date on all the new episodes that we release. If you have a topic that you'd really like more information on, leave us a comment below and we'll see what we can do. Feel free to share this podcast with all of your friends and especially your partners. This is a great way to open up some amazing conversations. We'll see you next week.